afternoon, everybody. This is Thirsty Thursday and my name is Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush. So I'm going to do another card making video today. Before I do that, I hope you are all well. I know pretty much everybody now has received their sale goodies from the sale a week or so ago, so I hope you're enjoying them, and this might give you some ideas. I'm obviously using just one or two items here, but this might give you some ideas for depending on whatever it is that you've got in the sale or whatever it is you've got in your stash. While you're here, if you do enjoy crafty videos, do give us a like and subscribe to the channel, and you will get all sorts of different card making, watercolour painting, home decor, all those kind of lovely things from the channel, from myself, Tony, Carly and Simon. So let's crack on and do some crafting. I'm going to do a bit of stamping first. I want to create a background for my stamp, and it's going to be like a tone on tone type background. So I'm using this set, which is one of the perfume ones that we did recently. Why is that? Why have I got two of those? That's obviously not from that one. So I will be using the floral part and possibly one of the sentiments. I may make this into a Mother's Day card, being as it's Mother's Day, isn't it, this Sunday? This set does come with coordinating dies. I think everything that I'm showing you is pretty much sold out now because there isn't much left Thirsty Brush wise at all to now make room with loads of other new goodies this year. But if you've got something similar, anything with a kind of floral or a pattern will work for this. I'm just going to stamp onto grey card with grey ink to give it that tone on tone look. Just trying to find some, I don't know where my magnets have gone today. So I can't put my hand on my magnets at the moment. I think they're in my other Eureka. So I'm just using a little bit of washi tape just to hold that in place. But to be honest, I'm not going to be doing lots of repeat stamping or going over it. If it comes out a little bit sketchy with the ink, so be it. That's fine. It's just a kind of subtle background. So I'm using a grey ink. This is a Memento one, grey flannel, but you can use whatever ink. I'm not colouring on this. The only reason I've got this one out rather than others is that I'm going to be colouring with alcohol markers later on for this card, so I can use the same ink then. This one works well with alcohol markers. Just pop that out of the way so I want to get kind of different areas covered. So I'm just repeat stamping all over with the grey ink and have the flowers come off the page in kind of a different flow, turning it round to make it look really nice and natural and not too regimented. I just think that helps. Get a nice lovely look. Just a couple of bits I didn't press. There we go. So I'm going to move this piece down a little bit now because I'm going to need to get it to overlap. Do this bit first. So just thinking, wonder if we can do it like that. Yep. Don't mind leaving some areas unstamped. Doesn't have to fit exactly, but I don't want huge gaping areas at the same time. So I'm just going to move down even a little bit more. And make maybe fit in there. So tell me, what's everyone been up to this week? If it's your first time here, pop into the live chat and say hi. I do pre-record these videos at the moment while we're still in semi-lockdown, but normally I will be going to the Stamps by Me studio hopefully very soon and be able to get going on these live again. But do come in and say hi on the live chat. I will normally be around as well. So that's our kind of tone on tone background. So it's got that lovely hand-drawn flower in the grey. So just put that aside for a moment. And while I've got this stamp out, I'm going to stamp once more. We're going to use one as a focal point on the card a little bit later on. So like I say, I'm just going to carry on with that memento because this dye-based ink rather than a pigment-based ink is great for using with alcohol markers or inks. So that's lovely. Just give my stamp a wipe. And back on my carrier sheet for that. Right, now to go to the dies. I've got an outline for the lovely floral design. I'll be able to just run it through, and this card is particularly thin, but it's the smoothest one I'd got that's great for alcohol markers. I think it's only probably about a 180-200, and I prefer things a little bit thicker. So what I'm going to do, just to counteract that, is that I will cut out the design ready for colouring, and then I'm going to cut another piece in the same die to just layer underneath and just give this focal point, topper, embellishment, whatever you want to call it, just that little bit more density when I add it onto my card. But you don't need to do this if your card's thick enough, but you do need to use a super smooth with alcohol markers. Otherwise, the ones that have more chalky content, or definitely not watercolour card, it just drinks all the ink from your lovely pens. And as we know, the alcohol markers aren't cheap in any brand. So the last thing you want to do is use the wrong type of paper and drink all the ink for you. A smooth card, super smooth. This might be a Linda Chapman, I can't quite remember, but that will give you lovely, vibrant, smooth colouring, but it won't drink excess ink from your pens. So like I say, I'm just going to add another just blank one. And I've just dropped all my ink pads everywhere. Leave it alone, horse, it's fine. Thank you. Oh, it's listening now. I thought he was going to eat that. Don't know whether he's in a mood now that I've woken him up though. Right, so that will just fit on. So let's do that out the way. It will be much easier to handle as well because this paper is quite thin. So don't forget, you can do this with any kind of die cuts as well. If you've got papers that you think, oh, that would make a great embellishment in that patterned paper or coloured paper, but it's just too thin, back it onto some white or black or a toning colour and just make it a little bit thicker. It's a really simple thing to do, but it makes things much easier to handle. Okay, I need to decide on my colours that I'm going to use. So I picked a handful of pens out of my pot. Got tons here. This isn't all of them, but I picked some greens and some pinks and yellows. So I just want to decide a couple of greens and a couple of some other colour for the flowers. I like that dark green. What blends best with that? Oh, that's an even darker. Could we do that? How would that work? Don't think I want purple or the other greens then. Let's have a look at the yellows actually and do that. We did a little while ago yellow and grey or silver card, didn't we? So this might be another way to use some of those colours. That's a green. I think that might work. Those turn quite well too. Okay, let's go with those. So my greens and my yellows, let's do them in light, medium, dark, light, medium, dark. And these are the Stamps by Me Gossip ones. Use whatever alcohol markers you've got. Just pick 2 or 3 shades in the colours that you like. So I'm going to go through and colour in one of the flowers first, and I'm going to saturate the whole thing in the lightest colour. They always come out darker and then fade back. I don't know whether that's actually the lightest. From the lid it looks like the other one is, but let's try. We could maybe do the 2 flowers slightly different shades and do a couple of petals. And then while they're still a little bit wet, I'm going to go in with the darker from the base of the petal like I always do, but let's do that classic shade where you get a lighter bit in the middle. So I'm going from the top of the petal as well. To make the blend easy, I'm just using like a flick motion. And then go back with the other one. Slightly lighter one again, and just blend where they meet. And then as that dries back, you should end up with the darkest area near the edge of the petal and looking like the lightest area is in the middle. Let's do the next couple of petals. You can do the whole flower at the same time, but I just find the blend is slightly better if they're still a little bit damp, because by the time you've gone through and done all your petals with the base colour, that should, you know, that can be pretty dry depending on the card that you're using already, and then that can affect the blend. So I did light all over, dark at the edges, and then blend the dark into the centre, leaving the centre of the petal the lightest. Petals like this where you haven't got much space in the middle, just use the minimum amount of dark possible. So get in there now. It's really light flicks, you don't need to press hard with these type of pens at all. Exactly the same again. Once you get into it, you just do it automatically. Light all over. So this is using 2 pens for this particular flower. I will come back to that one, or you'll do the other flower with that and see how that compares. Light, dark flicks from the bottom of the petals, and then I turn it round and do flicks from the top of the petals into the centre. I prefer using the brush end, but there isn't really a right or wrong here. It's just they will give you different looks. And you will still see the join at this point, and this is where you get rid of the join by just going over that part. Just where the light meets the dark, and blend. Right, let's try with this other lighter one then, because I don't think there's much difference, but it might give a nice bit of depth actually, having the 2 petals next to flowers next to each other with slightly different shades, because we know that can happen in real life as well, don't we? The darker one I'm still going to use, so let's get rid of that for now. I think it's going to be a very subtle difference, but it should add to the look. You know, I love the watercolours, and that will always be my kind of, oh, gone in with the wrong one there, my go-to colour medium, because it's just what I find comes most naturally. But I really do enjoy sometimes using different colour mediums for my stamps, whether it's alcohol markers, pencils, other types of pens. My brush pens I love. You know, it hasn't always got to be the paint, and it's, again, always no right or wrong. They're just going to give you different looks, and sometimes different occasions are good for different looks, aren't they? Or you just fancy using a different skill, or developing a different skill if it's something that you haven't tried before, or you feel you want more practice in. And I just find any type of colouring just super relaxing anyway. Just these last couple of petals on these flowers. Got some little, there could be small leaves, but I'm going to do them as little buds here as well. I'll do a tiny bit of shading on those. But yeah, you can colour these little ones. I've done them so they look just as good whether they are small leaves or buds of the flower. So I think we're nearly done with the yellows. Do we need something in the centre, do you think? Yeah, let's use this kind of peachy. So the difference between the 2 pale yellows is very subtle. I don't know whether it will pick up on the camera, but it is very, very slightly different shade. And then we're going to do the same technique with the leaves. We use a lighter, darker from the base of the leaf and the tip into the centre, and then go back with the lighter one that we used to blend. I don't think we need that third one really. Oops, I keep going in with the darker first, too busy chatting and not checking. do 2 leaves at a time here. Experiment when you're using your brush nib alcohol markers as well, that you'll notice you can do a very, very light tip if you only just touch the paper, or you can get a much thicker line and thicker brush. So just practice, that's all it is. But of course you've got the little bullet nib the other side as well. That's really good for very precise colouring and small areas, and I'll show you where I'm going to do that in a moment, just to add some final detail. Just finish the shading on these last couple of leaves first. Okay, so to do that final detail, you can see in the design you've just got these little stems that come out with the buds on. So I'm just going to use the bullet tip just to go over those lines. You can leave them grey or black if you stamped them in black, whatever you've stamped with. And there we go, that's our main embellishment for the card. So got our background there and our embellishment, and that yellows look really lovely with the grey. I'm just going to add some extra texture to the card before putting it together and get a sentiment ready. So for the extra texture, I'm going to use this Tropical Leaves background die. And you think, why would you need that if you've done this? So we're just going to use a portion of it just to add some extra detail. So I'm just going to cut it from a plain white piece of card, and you can use any background die that's got some kind of pattern that goes well with your floral design for this. I just realised I've used a quite thin card again, so I don't know whether I'll need to do this twice and double up, or whether this will be enough. So just get rid of the little bits of this, just get my pokey tool and get rid of those. Okay, what I've done then is I've chopped using my paper trimmer right through from corner to corner, so you could get 2 cards out of this. Just going to use this portion, and that will be layered when I put the card together over like this, and it almost gives a flap. I mean, I'm not going to use it to open, I will be sticking it down, but it just gives a really nice piece of interest. You could do this in colours, you could do it in glitter, whatever you want. So just pop those aside for a second just before I put everything together to make sure I've got a sentiment. So I'm going to go back to the same stamp set, and I've got a scrap of card to use. I'm going to use this with all my heart because I thought that was a nice sentiment for Mother's Day, and I'm going to heat emboss that on this little scrap of navy card that I've got here. In fact, will that fit some of the little dies? Yeah, so this is one of the dies that comes with the set, so you can use it as a little label for your perfume bottle. But yeah, it fits perfectly around that. We'll use that too. So I'll just stamp that out quickly. So if I put it roughly in the middle, and then we'll have plenty of room to die cut that. Little bit of embossing anti-static powder. This is a very fine detailed font for this stamp, but comes out perfectly with the fine powders. So let's add an embossing powder to that. I've just got my gold to hand, but white or silver would work very well for this as well. And I'll just get that heat set so it goes all lovely and shiny. Okay, that's heat set and ready to go. I like that with all my heart. So let's just get that die cut and then we can pop everything together and see how this looks. So apologies, Mother, if you are watching. This is your Mother's Day card. She does watch my videos. And this one will obviously go out the Thursday before Mother's Day, so I do apologise. Spoiler alert. Is that straight? Let's just add another bit just to make sure that's straight. This isn't the thickest washi tape. Okay, so I've got grey card blank. We need to add a background onto that. There's our sentiment ready. It's cute. Just give it a nice finish there with the little pinprick detail as well. Has that run out? No, it's just not coming out. Let's try something else. Got some double-sided tape here. So this is going to sit nice and flat. You could raise up with some foam pads if you like. Absolutely covered in ink again, as usual. Just deciding which way. I think I'm going to pop it that way up. Okay, then this piece, which is going to sit here, fit nicely. I might just put something on the edge just to give it a slightly better finish there. So just some wet glue on the negative areas. Yeah, I think because we've chopped into it, this edge hasn't really got so much of a nice finish. So, that's the dog growling. What are you growling about, horse? So what I'm going to do, yeah, I'm just going to chop a tiny thin piece of white card just to give that edge a slightly nicer finish. I wonder if we did it. We've got a grey piece here and a white piece. I wonder if we did that. Yeah, that looks quite nice, doesn't it? So let's add some glue to that. thinking on my feet here, how just to finish things off, you could add a piece of ribbon or any other piece of card if you want. You could have it contrasting colours. Just think it's going to give something a little bit more professional and finished looking. Chop off that excess in a few moments. Just leave it to set while I put the rest on. So I'm just going to need to decide where to put our flowers and sentiment here. It's a shame to cover up too much of the flowers with the sentiment. So do I have them come in? I think kind of like that. So I'm just going to have it flat for this one. Apologies. And let's, while that's still wet, let's tuck this behind. I like how that kind of then comes to a point. God, I've got alcohol marker all over me. I've got all sorts. Let's just trim that last bit just to neaten that up. And then I think we're done. So of course have a go if you've got this particular set, but if you've got any other, just think about anything kind of floral or big enough that you could use on a repeat for the background, and then a partial part of a background die. So that's just a different way for you to use your background dies. But I think that's quite an effective card, using a few different techniques just to give you some ideas. So I will be back on Sunday for the Sunday Chill at 1 o'clock, where I've got another demonstration for you. And again, I'll use some other things that have been in the sale as well to give you some more ideas. So I'll see you then. In the meantime, take care and stay safe.